What if your pain is the only honest part of you left? Right now, while you're watching this, millions of people are scrolling through their phones, desperately searching for something to fill the void inside them. They're buying things they don't need, chasing people who don't care, and running from thoughts that won't stop hunting them. But here's what they don't know, and what you're about to discover. What if everything you think is breaking you is actually building you? 2,000 years ago, a slave named Epictetus and an emperor named Marcus Aurelius discovered something that our anxiety-ridden, notification-addicted world has completely forgotten. They found a weapon so powerful that it could transform suffering into strength, chaos into clarity, and weakness into unshakable inner peace. This isn't another self-help video promising you'll feel better in 10 minutes. This is about something far more dangerous and far more real: the ancient art of reclaiming your mind from the modern world that's trying to own it. The question isn't whether you're ready to change. The question is, are you tired enough of being tired? Look around you. Everyone's connected, but no one's present. Everyone's informed, but no one's wise. Everyone's busy, but no one's purposeful. We live in an age of infinite distractions, disguised as opportunities. Endless choices that leave us more paralyzed than free. We've built a world that promises everything and delivers emptiness, a civilization that's forgotten the difference between being alive and simply not being dead, but buried beneath the noise of notifications, beneath the weight of other people's expectations, beneath the fog of your own self-doubt, lies something your ancestors knew, but you've forgotten: the power to choose. How you respond to anything life throws at you. This power isn't new. It was discovered by philosophers who faced plagues, wars, slavery, and exile. They called it Stoicism, not the cold, emotionless stereotype you might imagine, but a fierce discipline of the mind and heart, a way of thinking that treats your thoughts like wild horses that need training, not pets that need pampering. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire at its peak, and Epictetus, who was born into slavery, both discovered that true freedom has nothing to do with your circumstances and everything to do with your perspective. Over the next few minutes, you'll discover 5 truths that will shake you awake: how you've been imprisoning yourself, why your pain might be your greatest teacher, the fire you were born with but forgot, how to train your mind like a warrior, and the secret of inner silence that the modern world desperately wants to steal from you. This isn't philosophy class. This is survival training for your soul. The cage of the modern mind. You think you're free, but you're living in a prison you built with your own hands. Every morning, you wake up and immediately check your phone, not because you want to, but because you have to. You scroll through lives that look better than yours, faces that seem happier, achievements that make yours feel small. Before your feet hit the floor, you've already started the day feeling behind at work. You smile at people who drain your energy. You say yes when you mean no. You chase promotions that won't fulfill you, buy things that won't complete you, and date people who don't see you. You've become a stranger to your own desires, so busy performing the role of successful person that you've forgotten who you actually are. On dating apps, you reduce yourself to a few photos and clever lines, then feel crushed when strangers don't choose you. On social media, you curate a version of yourself that's so polished it doesn't even feel real anymore. You're constantly comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, then wondering why you feel like you're failing at life. But here's what Epictetus knew that you've forgotten. Man is disturbed not by things, but by the view he takes of them. Epictetus was born a slave. His body belonged to someone else. He had no control over where he lived, what he ate, or even whether he would live or die. Yet he became freer than you are right now, scrolling through your phone, in a comfortable bed, with infinite choices at your fingertips. How is that possible? Because while you're imprisoned by your own thoughts, by the need for approval, the fear of rejection, the endless comparison, Epictetus learned to be free inside his own mind. He realized that the only prison that matters is the one between your ears. You have a smartphone, but you're not smart with your phone. You have freedom, but you're not free with your freedom. You have choices, but you're choosing to be miserable. But what if the key to escape was hidden inside the very pain you're trying to avoid? What if pain is the door? Every time life hits you hard, your first instinct is to run, to numb it, avoid it, distract yourself from it. You treat pain like an enemy instead of what it actually is, your greatest teacher. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, lost children, faced plagues, dealt with betrayal, and struggled with his own inner demons. But instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" he learned to ask, "What is this here to teach me?" He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let me tell you about Sarah. She was 26, working a job she hated, in a relationship that was slowly crushing her spirit. Every day felt like she was drowning in other people's expectations. Then she got fired. Her boyfriend left her for someone else. In 1 week, everything she thought defined her was gone. She could have collapsed. Instead, something inside her woke up. For the first time in years, she had to face herself without distractions. The pain forced her to ask questions she'd been avoiding. What do I actually want? Who am I when no one else is watching? What would I choose if I wasn't afraid? That breakdown became her breakthrough. The pain that felt like it was destroying her was actually destroying the version of herself that was never meant to survive. You see, comfort is the enemy of growth. Every time you avoid discomfort, you're choosing to stay weak. Every time you numb your pain instead of listening to it, you're silencing the voice that's trying to guide you home to yourself. Pain isn't punishment, it's information. It's your soul's way of saying, this isn't working, this isn't you, this isn't the way. The people you admire most, the ones with real strength, real peace, real purpose, they all have one thing in common. They stopped running from their pain and started running toward it. They learned that the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. If you leaned into your pain instead of away from it, if you listened to it instead of silencing it, what might you find waiting on the other side? You were born with fire deep inside you. Beneath all the doubt and fear and conditioning lives a lion that's been taught to believe it's a sheep. You've forgotten, but you were born with fire in your blood. You came into this world with an unstoppable life force, unlimited curiosity, and the audacious belief that you could do anything. But somewhere along the way, the world convinced you that you were ordinary. School taught you to follow rules instead of question them. Society taught you to fit in instead of stand out. Family taught you to be practical instead of passionate. And slowly, bit by bit, that fire inside you dimmed to barely glowing embers. Now you walk through life like you're apologizing for taking up space. You dream small dreams and make safe choices. You've become so good at talking yourself out of things that you've forgotten how to talk yourself into anything. But the Stoics understood something the modern world has forgotten. Strength isn't something you build, it's something you remember. It's already inside you, waiting to be awakened. You think you're broken, but you're not broken, you're just untrained. You think you're weak, but you're not weak, you're just unpracticed. You think you're lost, but you're not lost, you're just ready to be found. No one came to save you. No perfect parent, no ideal partner, no dream job, no amount of money. And that might be the most painful truth you'll ever face. But it's also the most liberating. Because if no one's coming to save you, that means the power was inside you all along. If you can't depend on the world to give you purpose, that means you get to choose your own. If life doesn't owe you happiness, that means every moment of joy you create is yours to keep. The fire you're looking for isn't in another person, another place, or another life. It's in the part of you that refuses to quit, even when quitting makes sense. It's in the voice that whispers, "Try again," when everyone else says, "Give up." The strength you dream of having isn't outside you, it's waiting to be claimed. The question is, are you ready to stop being a sheep and remember you're a lion? Train your soul like a warrior. Warriors aren't built in comfort, they're forged in fire. And your mind is no different. Every day you make thousands of choices. Most of them are unconscious, automatic, weak. You choose the easy path, the comfortable response, the familiar pain. But what if you started making different choices? What if you began training your mind like your life depended on it? The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, imagining the worst-case scenario, not to torture themselves, but to build mental muscle. They would visualize losing their wealth, their health, their loved ones, not because they wanted these things to happen, but because they knew that preparing for difficulty makes you unbreakable when it arrives. Modern life has made you mentally soft. You avoid hard conversations, difficult workouts, uncomfortable truths. You've built a life where you never have to face resistance. So when resistance comes, and it always comes, you crumble. But what if you voluntarily chose discomfort? What if you took cold showers, had difficult conversations, said no to things you didn't want, and yes to things that scared you? What if you treated every moment of resistance as a chance to get stronger? Epictetus taught, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and you will go unwell. This isn't about being passive, it's about being powerful. It's about realizing that you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And in that space between stimulus and response lies your freedom. Here's how you train your inner warrior. First, practice voluntary discomfort. Take cold showers, fast for a day, sleep on the floor. Teach your mind that discomfort is not danger. Second, visualize your fears. Spend 5 minutes imagining losing what you're afraid to lose. Then notice they are still here, still breathing, still capable. Third, practice the pause between someone triggering you and your response. Find the space. In that space, choose your reaction instead of letting it choose you. Mental toughness isn't brutality, it's clarity. It's the ability to remain calm in chaos, focused in confusion, and strong when everything around you is falling apart. Your mind is either your master or your servant. But right now, you're letting it run wild, making decisions based on fear, doubt, and other people's opinions. It's time to take back control. Freedom is inner silence in a world that profits from your anxiety. Silence becomes a radical act. Listen, right now, beneath the noise of traffic, beneath the hum of technology, beneath the chatter of your thoughts, there's something waiting for you. It's been there all along, patient and eternal, the silence that lives at the center of your being. This silence isn't empty, it's full. It's not weak, it's the source of all strength. It's not boring, it's the most alive you'll ever feel, Marcus Aurelius wrote. Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free than your own soul. But when's the last time you actually went there? When's the last time you sat with yourself without distractions, without goals, without the need to be anywhere other than exactly where you are? You've become addicted to noise, to stimulation, to the constant input of information, entertainment, and other people's problems. You check your phone the moment you feel bored, turn on music the moment you feel lonely, start talking the moment you feel uncomfortable with silence. But in that silence, you're avoiding lives, everything you've been searching for outside yourself. Peace isn't something you find, it's something you uncover. Joy isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. Strength isn't something you build, it's something you remember. The Stoics understood that the mind is like water when it's turbulent. You can't see clearly, but when it's calm, everything becomes transparent. Your problems don't disappear in silence, but your perspective shifts. What seemed overwhelming becomes manageable. What seemed permanent becomes temporary. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. This is where all the previous lessons converge. The cage of your modern mind, the pain that teaches you, the fire. You were born with the warrior training. It all leads here, to this moment where you realize that everything you've been seeking outside yourself has been waiting inside you all along. Freedom isn't having everything you want, it's wanting nothing you don't have. Peace isn't the absence of problems, it's the presence of perspective. Strength isn't never feeling fear, it's feeling fear and choosing courage anyway. Mastery begins where noise ends, and the silence you're afraid of. It's not empty, it's home. Don't let your mind rot in comfort right now. While this fire is still burning in your chest, while these words still echo in your mind, make a choice. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready now. I'm going to give you one challenge that will change everything. For the next 3 days, practice voluntary discomfort. Take a cold shower each morning. Sit in silence for 10 minutes without your phone. Have one difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Say no to something you don't want, and yes to something that scares you. This isn't about becoming superhuman. It's about becoming human again. It's about remembering that you're not here to be comfortable. You're here to be alive. The Stoics didn't seek greatness. They sought freedom. Freedom from the opinions of others. Freedom from the tyranny of their own thoughts. Freedom from the fear that keeps most people living half-lives. If this video stirred something inside you, if you felt that fire starting to burn again, then subscribe and join thousands of others who are choosing the harder path back to themselves. Share this with someone who needs to remember their strength. Comment with your biggest takeaway, but most importantly, act, because the fire inside you was never gone. You just stopped feeding it. The world is waiting for the real you. Stop making them wait.